I don't know about you, but I worry a lot. I can lay in bed at night and I can go through the list of all the things that are going on in my life. I can worry about my marriage, I can worry about my kids, I can worry about my job, and I can worry about worrying, just laying in bed. Well, Paul has some crazy advice for us. He says, instead of worrying, do not worry. He says, rejoice, and to rejoice always. And you think, Paul, how in the world can I rejoice when I have such a mounting list of problems? Well, Paul wants us not to focus on our problems, which can cause us anxiety, but to focus on the solution that God brings, the solution that Christ brings in our lives. And when we do that, we have cause to rejoice because we have a God who is bigger than the problems in our life. While I cannot come up with the solutions, the fixes to my problems, I can pray and ask God to come up with those fixes and solutions. There's even in this community a conflict between these two ladies, Euodia and Syntyche, and Paul wants them to have the same mindset of Christ and to stop worrying, to stop having anxiety, but to rejoice always. And when you do, when you have the mind of Christ, when you hand your problems over to God, He will take care of you. Paul draws on the Jesus tradition that talks about how we shouldn't worry about this life, how we shouldn't worry about what we eat or what we drink, what we should wear, that instead we should hand over the daily concerns of our life to God because God is big enough to take care of our needs. And so I just want to encourage you, if you are focused, if you're worrying in this life, Paul has good news for us, that we can rejoice, that rather than focusing on problems, and if you're like me, the list just keeps going on and on and on. And when we start to get caught up in this list, Paul wants us to say, stop thinking about those things, but instead start thinking about good things. Instead, we need to think about whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is pleasing, whatever is commendable. If there's anything excellent or virtuous, if there's anything worthy of praise, let's think about these things. So we need to be thinking about the solution. We need to be thinking about good things rather than thinking about the problems in our life, and to trust God with the problems of our life. And that when we trust God, the problems don't go away. The problems are still problems, but God will bring solutions to those problems, which causes us to have relief from that anxiety, and that we can rejoice because our God is bigger than the problems that we face. And for that, we can rejoice. So just encourage you this week, think about the problems that you have in life and hand those over to God. When the list starts to rattle through your mind, I just encourage you, rather than thinking about the list, thinking about the problems, think about God and hand that list over to God and praise God for the solutions that He can bring into your life. We don't have to come up with the fixes. God will help us to find the fixes in our life. God will bring solutions to our life if we hand those problems over to Him. And for that, we can rejoice. And so rejoice in the Lord always. And again, I say rejoice.